Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Feeling Smarter. As always, I'm joined by our SMSF Technical and Education Manager, Tim Miller. G'day, Tim. How are you?
Aaron, going exceptionally well. Yourself?
Very well, thank you. Well, today we're going to talk about the opportunities and challenges of downsizer contributions. And as we know, we have seen the downsizer contribution age limit over the past 18 months or so go from what was age 65 down to age 60 and now down to age 55. And I guess the question to you, Tim, is the fact that we see opportunities with downsizer contributions through this reduction in age, it equally creates this much greater danger zone, in particular when we think about the planning around contributions.
Yeah, look, I guess that's the key issue, isn't it? Because we always look at these opportunities and go, wow, that's great. We've now got an extension. So this made it a little bit, I guess, easier where we talked about there being an age difference often between spouses and the inability to use the downsizer for a younger spouse. Well, extending to 55 probably covers off a lot more people in that regard. But this danger zone that you and I often speak about is where previously with the non-concessional contribution rules realistically sort of kicking in to allow contributions in a fairly limited time frame between 65 and 67 where there wasn't a work test. Now we have this danger zone where our non-concessional rules expand all the way through or extend all the way through to 75, which means our ability to make mistakes is reduced in the sense that we don't have a capacity to refund non-concessional contributions prior to 75, and we sort of trigger the excess non-concessional contribution regime. So there's got to be this balance between understanding and appreciating the rules of downsizer, getting the timing right from a downsizer point of view, and ensuring that we've maximised our non-concessional strategies potentially prior to utilising the downsizer contribution.
Yeah, so we had what was previously this kind of 2-year window, wasn't it? If we go back to probably only 2 years, where if you got it wrong, that window of getting it wrong really only was from 65 to 67. Yep. But now we've created this 20-year window when we start to think about the fact that we can make downsizers from 55, but we can actually incorporate the NCC rules all the way through to age 75. And I guess that raises the next question about the timing and the opportunities of making this downsizer contribution, because the fact that it is at age 55 means that, yes, there's scope to be able to utilize it at that point. But as we look at the expansion of the NCC rules through to age 75, we know that the opportunity for downsizer contributions can present at any point in time in life of an individual, not linked to TSB, not linked to age. So the concept of downsizers maybe being a last resort contribution really puts in focus whether you should be making them maybe at that early point in time.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the key, because there's going to be a reasonable proportion of people that timing isn't going to be relevant. So they don't have total super balance issues that are going to concern them with regards to non-concessional, but they have the issue around this is the only time they're going to sell their house and potentially downsize for those individuals. Whereas others, the idea that they may come into money might be through the death of another family member or something like that, and potentially a parent or whatever, which means there might be this ability for non-concessional contributions. So, with the extension of the downsizer, or the extension from 55, it doesn't mean we jump in straight away. It means we need to almost assess what's going to happen over the next 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the only final comment I wanted to make on this is we do see this as a strategy being, employed more and more regularly with clients. It is something that is highly utilized. But the reality is these laws came in 1 July 2018 and took effect. The first year of contributions sort of followed thereafter. And what we do observe quite regularly is that the deed doesn't allow for downsizer contributions to be made. A lot of people went through that deed process of upgrading to deal with the super reforms in 2017. But at that stage, we had no legislation and didn't even contemplate the fact that those contributions should be made. So I guess the other tip I would say here is just make sure as you go through that process that you're looking for within your deed the allowance of the ability to make a downsizer contribution as well.
Yeah, and look, it's a really relevant point, I think, there, Aaron, because as I've highlighted a number of times when talking about contributions, I think if you incorporate indexation, and there's been at least 25 contribution rule changes since super reform from 1 July 2017. So it's a pretty sort of evolving area. And you just want to make sure that your deed allows for whatever strategies you're going to apply.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, on that note, Tim, I guess this is an opportunity to let people know we do have our next upcoming online SMSF masterclass, where naturally this is going to be one of the topics that we'll be talking about, where we focus on contributions, and we have our Malthouse family and Little Brewers Super Fund to once again be going through a range of these strategies. So if you do want to find out more, I encourage you to visit our website, smartersmsf.com/events. The event is being held on Wednesday, the 15th of November. So once again, encourage you to find out more about that event. To you, Tim, thanks again for joining me for this week's edition of Feeling Smarter.
No worries, Aaron. I look forward to catching up again next week.
Very good. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Bye for now.
Bye.